he said some very, very interesting stuff that was just truthful. And doing that whole back and forth with him and Cody Rhodes, man, look, the boy was spitting the truth. What he was saying is not easy to be able to combat. It's just, even though Cody went back and forth with him, and that's fine, but man, John was throwing some bombs. And he said, hey, I'm here to reset the business. Take a listen.
I see you do that. I think that's a good thing. Leaving the place better than when he left it.
That's all I'm trying to do, man.
Unless you ruin wrestling, which we can't have.
No, I'm just going to shut it down. That's all. Here's the thing. Ruining wrestling is, there's going to be a show. Everybody's replaceable. There's always another show. I'm going to make wrestling start over. That championship is coming home with me, and I will be the last undisputed WWE champion, period. So they're going to have to make a new title. They're going to have to start the clock over again, and whoever is that first champion, whether it's Cody Rhodes, whether it's Dirty Dom, whether it's Logan Paul, whether it's Braun Breaker, it doesn't matter. They'll be the first one. Bruno, Hogan, Austin, Rock, HBK, Taker, Game, every name you can imagine, CM Punk, that comes home with me.
Now listen to what he said. He's going to make them start over. Reset the clock when it comes to professional wrestling. He named the guys in his era, and he also named the guys of the new era that they would have to start off with after he's gone. Right now, with the new championship, he said he's taking that undisputed, he's the last one to hold that undisputed championship belt. And he said whether it was Dom, whether it's Braun, whether it's Cody, whether it's whoever in this generation, new belt, but this belt that has legacy, he named Shawn Michaels, Taker, Austin, Rock, all the guys that he came up with. He said, hey, I'm taking that belt. That's the belt of my generation. He didn't say he's the GOAT, but that's GOAT talk. Y'all starting over. Y'all are starting over with a brand new belt. And he also talked about, hey, he's like, pretty much I'm a realist. I know there's going to be another show. I know there's going to be another pay-per-view. He said there's going to be somebody else. The fans are going to come. He's not talking about that. He's talking about the era that he's in right now. This is it. They resetting after me. Now, I find that interesting because on that package last night during the presser, at the post-show after Mania, they showed the list of guys that hold championships, and it was one name that was on that era, and he didn't even mention it during this press conference. Now, he mentioned him during the show, on the Pat McAfee show, but he didn't say his name. He didn't put his name in that list. There's one guy that's left, and he talked about him during his OVW days. If you listen to the podcast, great interview by Pat McAfee and his team. If you listen to that show, he talked about his days in OVW and the guys that came up with him and how, they had to scratch and claw to get on TV time, because when he was in OVW, he mentioned, it was Rock, Austin, Taker, all those guys he pretty much mentioned. They was fighting for TV time within themselves, so it wasn't no room for them, to come up. And he said, he mentioned the name of that person, which we do know who that person is, which is Randy Orton. Randy Orton, it was Randy Orton, Batista, Brock, and himself. And he talked about how he knew that Brock was going to be the guy. And he said he thought that Orton would get a chance, and then it was him, which he had to fight and claw to get everything that he did, and almost being fired. And, we know John Cena's career. If you don't know his career, Cena was almost fired, and until he had that ruthless aggression moment that catapulted his career with Kurt Angle. Maybe we wouldn't be talking about a 17-time champion if he wasn't willing to take that chance and to put himself out there with his work ethic and everything to be the guy that they needed during the moment. And that's what he did. So, like I was saying, it's one person that I believe, it's one person, and we may hear from it tonight. And again, this is just fan talk. This is fan talk. This ain't no spoiler. I don't know what is going to happen. But it's one person that is still left on that list that they showed during that press conference last night of championship title reigns, and that's Randy Orton. Now, if I had the pen, I'm like, okay, I know, John, you want to take this belt off, you want to do that, and you want to, have the end of an era be in with you, but it's not the end of an era yet, because if I'm Orton, he get to talking, I don't know if I would pull the trigger there or if I would wait to that build for SummerSlam. But man, they got to get there. Now, what I do believe that's going to happen, if I'm writing the pen, you got to allow Orton to be John Cena's last match. You got to allow that to happen. Because if you noticed, every person that has held that championship that he's talking about has legacy. They have lineage. That championship is not for everyone to hold. That's why when Roman back in 2020 or 2021, when they did that Survivor Series match with him and Big E, Roman looked at that championship that Big E was holding and he threw it to the side because that championship is not the one that matters. At the time, he was holding that blue Universal Championship belt, but that was the main belt. The undisputed belt is more prestigious than the World Championship belt in the world of WWE. So if they're going to go down that road, it's only one person that could hold that belt if they decided to go down that road. And let's say they say, you know what? We're not going to retire the belt. We'll give a new belt, this, that, and other. But it's only one person that is deserving to beat Cena at this point. And it has to be Randy. That's it. It's like, okay, with you beating Roman and they giving it was like, who's going to beat Roman, first of all? With Roman beating everybody on the main roster pretty much, who's going to beat him? Whoever beat him, you had to build him up to be the guy, of course, but it had to be somebody that was deserving. And for whatever reason, they thought it was Cody. Cody did a good job, took the belt 368 days. And since Cody beat Roman, right, Roman beat John needing to get to that 17 championship, it wasn't going to be on the back of Roman Reigns because you got to protect Roman. So who would be the one to beat Cody? Now the question is, who's going to be the one to beat Cena? Because we know he's going to be here to December. We have all these live events and the next pay-per-view, which is always a banger. Backlash is always good. So we got to get the Backlash. Then we got Money in the Bank. And then we have, I believe the next one is SummerSlam. So, I don't think a title change is going to happen at Backlash or Money in the Bank. Now, it may happen at SummerSlam. Now, I don't know if you save that match for SummerSlam or you do it going into December, because you got December, you got August, September, October, November, December. So what is this? April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. So Cena got 8 months left. So he can hold the belt for the next 8 months. And then we can get to that match with Randy and Cena at the end of his career. So between there, what do you do? What is your main events? What direction do you go into? how do you protect Cena, but how you also keep him strong in the meantime. Yeah. So we're finna be on a emotional roller coaster leading up to December to see who is going to be John Cena's last opponent. We're hoping, I know you're hoping, gotta be Randy Orton. So, man, what a weekend.